Brazilian Hope, Keat Stars, and we're underway with picks and bans. How you doing, Spuddington?
I'm doing pretty well right now. So obviously probably the big story from yesterday is the fact that NIP are even in the losers bracket right now, because up till now in pretty much every single challenger tournament we've seen them in DreamHack, in the Riot stuff, up until London actually, where they lost to H2K, they've been looking really dominant, but starting to show some signs of weakness. May have been, however, that they'd only just gotten back home when they had to start getting into game for the games yesterday.
Yeah, and from what I see on the screen here, it's Ziggs, Thresh, and Yasuo from Nip's side, while Keat take away the Casted and Kale. I don't know what the last ban is, but can only assume that it'd be Braum or something like that, but who
Braum
knows?
is the one.
Yeah.
Nothing too
Alright, yeah.
surprising there. And then a first pick there on the Lulu there from Alex Itch. So again, nothing too surprising. This is one of the champions he really likes to play in top.
And we saw it a lot from mid, too. Power People had some good showings on that, even though they lost. He kept even in most of his lanes, especially against was it Waterfox? No. It was in faculty's mid. Not Sunjo. Oh my god, I can't remember his name right now. Too many names to remember. But Power of Evil had a good showing on Lulu nonetheless yesterday. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was mid. But like you said, Alex, it can play it as well up top.
Flexible pick, basically.
Yeah.
It doesn't give the game away. Very strong all around, and most of the OPs kind of taken out of the picture here. Jax is still open, although that's worth noting. But I'd say he's actually been falling off a little bit lately. People finding that the Jax is a little bit less threatening. And of course, in the last patch, Blade of the Ruined King got nerfed, especially the active, which is a big deal since Jax doesn't really function without that item.
Yeah. Very true. I. It's still really good either way. Like all the AD carries are pretty much just picking up the Blade of the Ruined King anyway. Like Lucian, we saw build Infinity's Edge first, and then like a Blade of the Ruined King a little later on down the road. Like every AD carry pretty much just goes Infinity's Edge and then gets a Blade of the Ruined King later on for the game. But the Lucian picks for BRTT a very good AD carry for him, and then Winged if he gets that Lee Sin, because I'm a little bit behind from the stream, but that Lee Sin is most likely one of his best junglers.
Yeah, and NIP are actually going to answer that with an Evelynn pickup themselves, and now the Jax. So looking like it'll be a Lulu mid, as you suggested. With the wild growth, of course, that's going to be a really difficult champion to deal with. I am curious to see where he itemizes, though, because although everyone is still picking up Blade of the Ruined King, the way in which they change the item generally doesn't favor Jax, because having less slow and less movement speed difference from the active tends to make Jax a little bit less able to stick to people, and obviously he only functions when he's able to stick to people because he hits you 3 times before he gets his big spike of damage, and then you put AD items on him as well, and all the hits are hitting hard, and then he just hits even harder, but still, his whole design is based around a continuous damage cycle, and they are 5 seconds off the next couple of picks here. It looks like it's going to be Orianna Shyvana.
Alright, so Suno gonna know pretty much what to do against the Lulu matchup. He had to do that last time against SK Prime's mid laner, and it's just gonna be the farm fest for that mid lane. What'd you say the other pick was for BRGT?
Shyvana.
Shyvana. All right, so Milan as well played that a whole bunch yesterday. She can get outscaled by the Jax, but Shyvana is still very strong. If she does get any tiny bit ahead, Shyvana will just start steamrolling over Jax until he gets some items. So we'll see how Alex can deal with that. It could still be a 2v1 lane swap. That's still something that exists, but it's not all too often anymore. But still need the AD carry and support for the side of Nip, and Freeze showed us Draven yesterday and had a really bad time on that.
Yeah, Draven, remember, of course, is another one of these champions hit by the Bloodthirster nerfs. That was his item, really. And yeah, not as good anymore. Blade of the Ruined King, not the most suitable item, so I'm a little bit surprised he bothered to run it at all. Kog'Maw Nami being picked out here gives them a lot of peel now as well here. So NIP have an absolute beast of a late game. However, as you say, if they're able to run a 2v1, if they choose to, they will be able to shut down Jax quite effectively, maybe try and get some pushing advantage early on. But if they do that now, they're going to be letting Kog'Maw free farm, which is the real problem, because now NIP have 2 major late game carries, whereas before it looked like maybe they'd be able to shut down the one Jax and go even everywhere else and still be actually ahead overall.
And I see the freeze locked into Kog'Maw, and Voidal could go for Morgana or that Nami, and it looks like he went for the Nami instead. So Kog'Maw Nami, very very strong lane, a lot of utility, NCC in range, and even a little bit of a power spike from the Tycolor's Blessing. Lucian still needs his support. Loop, from what I see, is hovering over Karma. I wouldn't be too surprised to see that one. Or Morgana. Either one can stop like Bubble or Tidal Wave if they want to use it. It looks like, yeah, Zyra. Cool. So Lucian, Zyra, very, very aggressive lane. And have a lot of catch potential and a huge amount of burst damage. So the Keatstars lineup looking really strong. As well as Nips.
Yeah, both of these teams are really beast team fighters. There is going to be an edge for NIP if they're able to utilize Jax's split push by getting him ahead early of Mylon. But that could be an issue for them. Obviously, see how they play out their lanes. But late game team fights are basically going to come down to how effective of a flank can Evelynn get with her Agony's Embrace, because Stranglethorns is the main disengage for Keatstars, and if they can get the knock-up on many people at once, then the whole NIP game plan will fall apart in a team fight. As it is, though, it's going to be interesting.
Hello?
Hello? Yes.
Oh, okay.
I was going to
trail off after
to
the
see.
interesting.
It was going to be interesting to see what happened. Right. Was inferred. I don't know. Was that strange?
That was weird.
Turn of phrase.
But I only assume that we're in the spectator delay, so we'll go to
indeed.
We'll go to a quick commercial break. But before that, check out probuilds.net to see the latest and greatest from your favorite professional players from the LCS Challenger and or whatever you follow. So check that out, and then Logitech Gaming Gear. You can find the latest and greatest in headsets, mice, and keyboards over there. But we'll see you when the game is loaded onto the Rift between Keatstars and Alright guys, welcome back to Game 1 between Ninjas in Pyjamas versus Keatstars. I'm Mega. Going to be joining here is Spuddington for today's cast, as we're already on to the Rift, and it's going to be a good set of games. And I don't know if we'll see any crazy invites. That's the real question.
It is a very good question, because unfortunately my client is locked on the loading screen at the moment.
Oh,
so
okay. When
something happens, yeah, I'll let you know when I get into the game.
All right, sounds good. Nothing too crazy. Just gonna be a bunch of 5-point spreads from both sides, keeping all the entrances covered. No early wards just yet, but they're just gonna play a passive. A little bit of scouting from Winged as he's trying to spot out Ko, but doesn't really find him. But he knows he's in the general area. Alex each walks up for a ward. He's gonna eat some harass, but they just both agree to just back on off. And from what we saw yesterday, Mylon, he's pretty good at Shyvana, but they still did end up losing to SK Prime. But his Shyvana was one of the more consistent champions on the team. Winged, his jungle presence was absolutely phenomenal. They do find a bubble dump onto Loop, but just he walks away. But as I was saying, Winged, Broken Shard commented yesterday on how phenomenal Winged is at jungling and at the timing and the presence in his enemy's jungle. So we'll see if he can establish that today on his Lee Sin. Yesterday he did a bit of an early blue invade too against Broken Shard and stole that and denied away from him for a little bit, but Broken Shard ended up climbing back in. But it doesn't look like they're going to do that, and it'll be a fairly passive start from both sides.
Egad, I just opened my CD drive and a piece of toast came out.
Oh.
It was very surprising to me. I never really realized until now.
Toasters.
I know, it's terrible. But, on the bright side, Zyra has glitched out and doesn't have a walking animation. That's not important, though. K-Stars right now actually have a parallel jungle path right now. That is going to be potentially interesting if they go for early ganks in the bottom lane. Kog'Maw is always going to be a heavy focus from both teams. You want to get him rolling. You also...
Ooh, they got to be careful there. If a bubble connects from Voidal, that's going to force out a flash. He's going to look for a two-man bubble, and he gets it. They get the damage onto BRTT, but they just use the heal, and they'll stay into that lane.
That's a pretty good job there done by... by... Eldiov, which would be... surprised, honestly. Not what we've seen a lot in competitive play, but for now, I think they're just going to be continuing to harass. Actually,
got another bubble. Look at that, the slow as well. He's going to get the Arcane Barrage, the exhaust. Nice job from the Loop to keep himself alive and save his flash. They're really behind in this lane right now.
And it's against a Kog'Maw lane. This is not supposed to happen. And that, of course, now means that where before Kog'Maw was a target because he's very, very squishy, Now he's a target because both junglers know that half-health laners are much, much easier to kill. Part of it, of course, is the fact that the Zyra support tends to lack presence at least until level 3, but getting punished to the degree of losing your flash is a bit of a misplay, honestly.
Very true. I don't know. I like Nami Kog'Maw. You don't really see it all too often as of late, but it seems to be coming back. Like, Nami's still such a really strong support. And pairing it with Kog'Maw, it's so good. You just see her leading the charge, throw out the bubble, just gives herself the blessing, and just heals herself up too. Like, you can't trade against that. And they have the level lead, so it's really good for that bot lane right now. It's looking really good, at least.
Yeah, it's really fun actually, because Nami not only works really, really well with Kog'Maw in a lane, she also covers for his weaknesses in the later game team fights. The peel is real. It's really, really good. You get the tidal wave, you get the bubble, and you get the slow on the Kog'Maw, like even more effectively on his own with his auto attack. So yeah, a really good all-arounder, and if this continues as it is, A-Stars are going to lose a lot of ground just on CS.
You can't count them out, though. Like, the Lucian Zyra lane, it has its own burst potential, it has a lot of peel in itself with the Zyra root and her Stranglethorn ultimate. So, even if they're set behind, level 6 is where it really matters. And Ko actually may be trying to make a gank come out here. They do bait it out. Voidal gets rooted up, he's going to heal himself, and it's going to bounce perfectly. They're looking to force the flashes out, and they get them. They only get one, excuse me. One from Loop BRTT, saving his very effectively. But they're very low, so they gotta be careful. If they get roamed on again, BRTT could end up losing his life since there is no heal or exhaust.
Yeah, they're just getting hit with an awful lot of bubbles. Not forced bubbles. They're not necessarily being forced to retreat and then being, zoned into the bubbles. They just seem to be, like, Nami saying, well, I'm just gonna throw a bubble now, and it hits it. Which is, again, not ideal from their perspective, and now they're losing out on, oh, lo and behold, a whole load of CS and experience.
Yeah, so that's a really big wave to deny as well. You saw Loop trying to soak up whatever XP he could find. We haven't really talked about much of the other lanes. They're kind of just going fairly even and just CSing up. Alexish and Mylon just going even. Mid lane, a little bit of a lead for Power of Evil. Winged, maybe scouted out here by Ko, but he's just going to ward jump over the wall and he'll be fine. So really the only signs of aggression are in that bot side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, there are bad signs here for K-Stars as well. Top lane, Jax is actually out farming Shyvana in the early game, which is a very bad sign. And you have the mid lane going even, which is not at all surprising. Lee Sin has not yet made any plays across the map, though. And Evelynn will generally have stronger late game, stronger mid game with her presence. And Winged, he's not running out of time, so to speak, but he's going to be wanting to start to get some momentum soon.
Yeah, so Ko's making his way up towards top side right now, so this could be a sign since Alex hit that sweet spot in 6 that they want to go for this gank because he gets the extra damage. He jumps in, gets the stun. Ko, though, without his ultimate, doesn't have a slow to stop Mylon here. They burst him out for a huge amount of damage. Ko is actually looking for a dive, but Alex wants none of that. Power of Evil's here, too. He's going to go in, let's Ignite, and finds the kill, but it looks like he actually gets away, too, with the Whimsy, so not losing his life for it. And that'll be Power of Evil with First Blood.
And even if he had been hit, taken another tower shot, he would have just used Wild Growth there. So that was a very safe dive there by Power of Evil. Really the only way it could have been avoided was if the Glitter Lance was dodged, which has not happened. And it actually looks like Winged right now. He'd be angling towards this bottom lane. He knows that Ko isn't there, but would he realistically want to go for a dive here?
He's not level 6, so doesn't have the displacement of the from the Dragon's Rage, so I assume he's not going to go for anything crazy, you know, but with Suno actually roaming, he was kind of heading towards bot lane, but he was actually just getting some more offensive wards at the red side. So we'll see if they put those into use soon, while Wing goes into Power of Evil and just safeguards right away.
I'm just saying hi. I'm Lee Sin, I am in the area. Oh, no, boy. He knows he can win against Wing in the one-on-one.
Very sure, just a little bit of a tussle up top. They go down bot to fight again. A nice juke from BRTT to get away from the bubble. They find a root on a freeze. They exhaust him as well. He has his flash and does get away. While Ko and Winged are fighting it up. Oh, missing the Sonic Wave there. Fortunate. If that would have connected, it would have been probably a...
Ori ult as well here.
Yeah, there was no Ori ultimate, but they could have just chased up with Dissonance or something like that. Ko's not giving up, though. He's kind of still trying to contest Winged here and might even try to steal his red buff, but they'll actually butt heads over there. as soon as they get to that point. And you see the pings coming out as Ko just does want to keep chasing it. They find a root in the bot lane though as BRTT gonna chase on a freeze. Gets a bunch of damage in on that one. Meanwhile, Suno and Power Evil are just trading it on the mid lane, but Ko is behind them. Wild Growth comes in, a teleport behind. Barrier and Flash keep Suno alive. Wing is going in. Ko with the Sonic Wave Resonating Strike, but he pies to a Glitter Lance. Meanwhile, Suno gonna get finished up by Ko. And that'll be the 2-for-none in Nip's favor.
I love how Ko took advantage there. We didn't actually catch it on stream, I think, but Orianna ult didn't hit anyone. Was wasted before that fight, and that was the small edge that Ku needed to then say, right, I am now going to invade the enemy jungle. I know my top laner has TP, I know my mid laner has ultimate, and I know that I'm stronger in a sustained fight with Lee Sin anyway, so he just went in, forced a fight, and in the end, Korean Stars probably could have, I don't know how I call them Korean Stars, whatever, K-Stars accidentally used a couple of their skills oddly there, and they positioned a little bit oddly and got caught out. Maybe should have just sacrificed the red buff there, because in the end they lost 2 kills for the privilege of trying to hold on to it, and then also the red buff as well.
Yeah, I don't know. They needed to fight it though. They want to make sure they can keep their jungle safe and not just give it away for free. So it was a valiant attempt. Ko's gonna spot out that pink ward that was placed over by their red. And they'll know he's going to be heading over to that objective fairly soon. They might try to contest it, but I don't think they want to. You know, Winged is a little bit behind at this point. So want to farm up that Spirit of the Outer Lizard. Same for Ko, though. He's got the boot advantage over him, so a little bit more mobility. Meanwhile, Freeze and, Voidal, they've been poked out pretty hard here. Loop and BRTT establishing their lane dominance now this time around since they have the levels. And actually, Winged is coming in. He might look for a gank here. Root, not going to connect with a slow does. Tidal Wave is forced out, but Cullen gets interrupted, and Winged could not get in with Safeguard.
That was a really nice Tidal Wave there. If Freeze had been caught by the root, wouldn't have mattered, because he probably would have been killed anyway, but because of that Tidal Wave, it cancelled the culling, it stopped all of them from closing in to take advantage of Cogmore, and now he's going to have a bit of trouble with this, but there's no easy snipe for K-Stars.
No, not at all. And it looks like there's going to be a bit of a 3-man push. They're going to try to attempt to take out this tier 1 or do as much damage as possible. Freeze actually gets hit by that. Sonic Wave Resonating Strike comes through, but the nice exhaust from Voidal. The turret not going to finish him off. A bubble connects. BRTT going to get that aggro, get the heal, and get out. But here comes Ko. This could be a double kill cleanup for him. Gets the Agni's Embrace. Stranglethorn comes in. They're kiting it. He gets knocked up. BRTT running away as fast as possible, but the haste spikes chase him down, and there's the refresh, and they flash forward. Help picks and Glitter Lance for the kill for Power of Evil. And that puts it at 5-0 in Nip's favor.
Nice flash over the root. They're 5-0 now. They're going to pick up this dragon here. Don't see that being stopped. Although it looks like you may be thinking about the mid lane over that. But they should be able to just pick up the dragon here, get themselves that gold advantage. And of course, we are on the live server. It is slightly more valuable to do that than it was in the patch before right now. And yeah, all around now, every single lane is winning. And they've got probably slightly stronger late game and mid game fighting team. So this is now looking really bad for K-Stars.
Yeah, they're falling behind a decent amount of gold for this point too in the game, so gotta have to keep an eye out for that. They still have a bunch of comeback potential. They still have a really good team fight if they can find the good shockwave. But as it looks right now, Nip, that Jax, he's doing really well up top. He's doing a Mylon right now, gets the Cutlass, but doesn't follow up for a dive. There's still Dragon's Descent, doesn't want to go too crazy right there. But this is definitely a switch around from the Nip we saw yesterday, because then Faculty just 2-0'd them and just went straight into the winner's bracket.
I mean, you can't help but wonder whether they were just really tired after getting back from London, because they had a big final there. Mylon having to fight against Alex again.
Oh, Loop gonna get hit by that bubble. A nice one from Voidal there. It's just a matter of time. He goes down, auto-attacking the Power Evil. And that'll be a Rampage 4-0 on that roaming Lulu.
The suffering of playing Zyra support. Phenomenal in team fight. Strong laning after level 3. Horrendously bad about being caught out because you're so squishy, so slow, and your CC is so unreliable.
Oh, Wing is actually maybe trying to bait out Alex, but meanwhile, Suno, is he gonna get dove here? No, Glitter Lance doesn't connect. Mylon, he's itching for it. He wants to force out Alex's just jump strike, but it doesn't look like they're gonna bite it. And they'll just back off, play it safe, and Mylon's gonna go back and probably pick up a set fire kit. No, he only has 700 gold, so can't, unfortunately. And back to farming we go, and there's the Cutlass for BRTT, so he's looking for that Blade of the Rune King rush.
So, bit of an issue there, not getting the Sunfire Cape in the top lane. That actually means Jax will continue to out-trade her for now. Normally you do actually get like a brief window where you can actually start to out-trade Jax again with that item. But right now, he's going to have to delay that. And I'm curious how much gold Jax is going to have when he gets back into lane. And the bot lane is also starting to look quite scary. Bubble did just miss that.
Yeah, that bubble, if that would have connected, BRTT would have been in some serious trouble, but he has flash, so that might have just been the cooldown expended. But, we're gonna see Suno get initiated on here. Ko is here, Wild Growth comes in, Ignite as well, nice 2-man shockwave. Suno gonna flash away, but get flashed right on after Ko is there. Winged looking for the kill, can he get it is the question. There's a nice help picks to shield him up. Can he get out? No, hit good for the kill. While down, Bobby with a teleport from Alex Itch going in. They clean up loop. That'll be a global 3-for-1 in the favor of Nip. But KSR's find their first kill, and it was on the mid laner in Power of Evil, so that was some good shutdown gold over to Winged.
Yeah, full 500 gold there, so it's worth it for him to trade 1-for-1 on that front. They're also going to be trading 1-for-1 on these towers. Top going to be traded for bottom here. Alex teleporting down, obviously, will help them push that a little bit quicker. But I don't think they're going to be able to stop Mylon in time. There's just no one in the area. Power of Evil heading in that direction, but just not going to happen.
Yeah, so they go 2-for-1 on the turrets, which is really good for Nip. The much needed gold. They also have the first dragon of the game as well. Freeze can just keep establishing his dominance, and Alex might not be done down bot here. He leaps in for the stun, does end up getting it, but gets rooted and doesn't want to be on any of the turrets, so he decides not to go. But they snipe it onto BRTT here. They want to try to get this kill. Alex flashes forward, jump strike with the cutlass down to loop. Maybe gonna look for a pincer in on him. Meanwhile, Mylon up top gets the turret, but gets harassed out by Power of Evil. Not looking to trade with him right now. Gonna look to back out. They're still looking for loop down bot, but he gets back to the safety of his base, and they'll back right on off.
Yeah, they could potentially push a little bit more here, though, NIP. They haven't got any minions, and they will have another wave soon. But they're going to see a 2-man commitment in top lane here. Even if Power of Evil dies, this is a sacrifice of a tower. It's not worth it.
Oh boy, tower goes down, but Power of Evil's 2v1ing right now. He dodges the Sonic Wave. He's in a kite. He's got a bunch of damage. They have to be careful. They're going to look to back off here. He has flash. There it is, and health picks, but misses the glitter lance. He gets kicked back. Meanwhile, Ko gonna get pulled back by the dissonance. I mean, the shockwave. And it looks like Keatstars are able to escape by the skin of their teeth.
Skin of their teeth in a 2v1 where they were trading it for not the whole tower in the end, but 3/4 of that bottom inner tower's health. And a lot of vision control, and they're already a long way ahead on gold. So NIP really cooking up a storm here. They are a long way ahead. Oh, God, Mylon. Poor sod.
Poor guy. Just gets sniped out there.
It's the worst feeling when you've got picks following you. You're like, it's coming, and then you can't dodge it.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, this game Keatstars had a rough start, and it's slowly snowballing. It's actually been heavily snowballing in the favor of Nip right now, so they have a lot of work to do to come back into this if they're going to be able to do so.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
You've got to remember they do still have some real team fight CC available to them. But at this point, with Alex Itch so far ahead, the NIP don't even have to force team fights. They can kite very effectively with the Lulu and the Nami peel for Kog'Maw with a 4-man, and engage if K-Stars are in the wrong position in that area as well. And then they can have Jack split push all day, 4-1, classically. And I don't think Shyvana can deal with him now.
Yeah, he's got almost his Trinity Force or his Blade of the Rune King, whichever one he wants to rush. And once he gets either one of those items, that power spike is going to be so hard to deal with. Meanwhile, Ko going to find Wing clearing out a pink ward, but his ward jumps away. He'll sweep up, he'll find the ward and kill it in response. And now they're going in mid. Alex does not find the stun, but gets the cutlass. He's just going to get kicked straight back, but Ko hits a nice 2-man agony embrace. They'll chase this down. Hate spikes come in. Suno goes down to the leap strike of Alex. And that'll be 12-1 now in the kills.
Yep, a bit hard to escape from that one. Quite a bit of CC available to them. And now NIP have complete control of the upper jungle. They know that tower is low around the bottom area. The RTT is taking so much damage!
Yeah, he has to watch out. Now Alex is behind as well, but it doesn't look like they'll be able to catch this this gap that the RTT made. But the tier 2 goes down, and this is a complete change from the Nip we saw yesterday. That is for sure.
Yeah, they're really, really scary right now. At the moment, maybe Mylon will be able to, bring them back another little advantage here, because he is up to the tower, has got a minion wave, but on the mirror, is a mid
Red team's turret
tower.
has been
That's not
destroyed.
really a mirror. That's kind of just a different tower on the opposite side. But on the mid tower, they were also returning fire.
All right, now they're looking for a cheeky little four-man gank. They know that there are no wards in the Dragon Pit, so they're going to just do what they can. A Seed comes over the side with a ward, and that wall camp is gone, but they're looking to contest this Dragon right now. Freeze has a bunch of damage. He's already got his Trinity Force finished, and they're looking to be more than happy to fight this one out. If they can get it, Ko is already in a flanking position, so Keystars have to be very, very careful. Sonic Wave does not connect. Ball over the wall. Does a little bit of chunk damage, but here comes Ko now. There's a nice tidal wave going. You're going to knock up 3 members, but a 2-man shockwave in the back line with a Stranglethorn. They try to kite this one out from Keystars. They do get the kick away. Mylon, though, is stuck in. He gets out with the Dragon's Ascent. Everybody able to kite from the side of Keystars as they do actually get out with all of their members alive. Bubble comes in onto Suno. And surprisingly enough, no one dies in that exchange, and it looks like they still want more as Freeze comes in. He's shielded up and sped up, and they find the kill as Ko finds off Lee Sin on the side. They take down Loop again, 0-4-0, having a really rough showing this game. And that'll be the 2 for none after a very extended fight and a Dragon to nip.
That really wasn't a very good fight from NIP there, but crucially they had an exhaust for Shyvana when she got onto the back line, which meant K-Stars couldn't capitalize off the huge amount of CC they got down BRTC.
Oh, and it looks like they're trying to 1v1 here, and will they get it? No! Ko will find the kill, and will take him down, and is dominating 6-0-4 on Evelyn.
That's a scary Evelyn. Looking pretty good there. 15 for 1 on the board total. And yeah.
Alright. So that was an impressive fight. So close for BRTT. But Ko is just a little bit too far ahead to fight him right now.
I think he might be running dangerous game as well. I'm not sure, but it looked like Ko regained like a tiny bit of health at the very end of that fight.
Does he have any lifesteal or anything like that? He has 8% lifesteal, so his auto attacks were healing a little bit. No spell vamp though. No spell vamp though.
Actually, an interesting build. Looking at it, I've not seen a lot of build water cutlasses on Evelyn in my time.
it's a standard thing that a few jungle Evelyns have been doing lately. So you get Elder Lizard, you get Blade of the Rune King, you get a Maw Mortius, and you just go tanky, and you're good to go. You pretty much kill carries instantly.
Well, fair enough. That makes a lot of sense.
Oh, they find Wing, they get the jump strike in, but the war jump out, and they follow up with Cutlass, but don't want to walk into a 3v1 there, even though Jax can probably fight it now.
K-Stars right now are aware of the fact they can't really fight at all. They're going to have to try and turtle this out. They may have a slightly worse team fight in the super late game, but the difference in the gold is a much bigger factor than the difference in scaling. But NIP aren't going to let that happen, and here it goes. I don't think this is going to be contested.
Ward of the wall, there's the plant, they spot it out, but no, not going to be able to steal that one up. And Alex looking for more, he's hungry, he wants to keep fighting. But they'll just disengage from Keystar's side, and I feel like it's just the inevitable game of when the final push comes in, because they could just leave Jax alone in a lane and then just 4-man push if they really wanted to from Nip's side.
And look exactly where he's going right now. Taking away the blue buff, but probably going for bot lane immediately afterwards right now. So Alex, too scary to deal with. The rest of the team, pretty much the same at this point.
And Freeze is even chunking out Mylon. Look at that damage coming in. Glitterlance as well. They get the snipes, and Loop is so dead. There it is. Auto attack from Power of Evil. If not, the Tidal Wave would have got that one. Ko gets kicked away and disengaged by Wing. But he looks to go back in, actually. Ko's in a 2v1 here. Gets the shield from the Agnes Embrace. And will he find the kill on the Wing? No, he won't. It looks like he actually might go down here. He doesn't have Flash. There's the Wild Growth coming in from Power of Evil, and it keeps him alive. Meanwhile, Nip is going to be able to pick up this tier 2 on the top lane. And GG comes out as Keystars. They surrender.
Yeah. You can't blame them. There really was a 1,000,000 to 1 chance of them coming back into that game, and it would all be dependent on NIP being really colossally stupid. So I can understand the surrender vote there. It's respecting NIP. I would say that little incident at the end was kind of classic Ko. He probably shouldn't have been there or being caught, but fair play to him. He was completely dominant in this game, as was Power of Evil. So NIP looking to be on good form. I don't know what K-Stars can really do.
Ban Jax. Don't
that
let
would
Jax
help.
through.
It does usually help. It was interesting because they went for the straight-up lane matchups. And although that would have left Cogmore to free farm, they can always try and focus him out with their heavy CC composition. So maybe 2v1 lane would have actually been worth it for them. since that would have enabled them to get Siobhan a little bit of a leg up, since she's a faster jungle clearer. But oh, it was their decision to make, and they didn't make it.
All right, with that, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have game 2 of the best of 3 between Ninjas and Pyjamas, who lead 1 game up over Keats.